Welcome. The Bump in the Night Society presents Exploring Your Society. I'm your host, Sean Bowman.
And I'm your co-host, Phil Kay.
Tonight we have Drake Bowan with us. Drake, say what's up.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What up, man?
So, Drake, tell us a little bit about Oakmont Paranormal Society.
Oh, boy. Well, what's there to say? Probably about 12 and a half years ago, my fiance Zoe and I were sitting at home and watching, I won't mention a team name, but they were ghost hunters that were on television. And they did I believe it was the episode where they were at the OK Corral. Or wait a minute, Zoe, was it Carnegie Homestead? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. It was the Carnegie Library of Homestead that they were at. And we noticed a couple things that were going wrong. And she looked at me and said, by the way, we could probably do this better if we had a team. And I turned around, jumped on the computer and went on to Facebook and said, hey, I'm putting together a paranormal team. Anybody who wants to hit me, wants to join up and try to understand why things happen, hit me up. And here we are, 12 years later, 160 investigations later, and we're still rocking it.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
The team's earned the title of the official paranormal team of the Carnegie Library of Homestead. Officially, we're the only team that's allowed to investigate it, but they do let us cut some leeway and bring other teams with us. It's only open once a year for paranormal investigations. And at this point, we've raised them over $35,000 to help with the building upkeep and renovations.
So how did you get involved with them?
The long story made short, I called the library and I said, look, we're a paranormal team from Oakmont, here in Pittsburgh, and we don't agree with what they claim they found and revealed to the board of directors, and we'd like to prove them, disprove what they found. And we went probably about a month later, toured the building on foot, and in the process of trying to debunk things, we ended up gathering evidence of our own. And by the end of the day there, we were only there about 2 or 3 hours. And I just mentioned casually, I said, look, if you guys ever want to do a fundraiser or something for the library, give me a call. Let me know. And the following March or April, I believe it was, I got an email from the library saying, look, we could use some help, financial help, please get in touch with us. And about 4 or 5 months later, in October of that year, October 2012, we fired off and did the very first, 2011. I do stand corrected. We fired off the very first haunted paranormal library tour.
That's incredible, man. How was the very first actual investigation as a team there? How'd that go? Was it pretty solid?
Actually, and this is going to sound crazy, we've never done a full-blown investigation there. For whatever reason, the library doesn't want. They know it's haunted. They know there's activity in there, but they don't want to bank on it. They're just happy enough to know that the building is haunted and leave it at that, because they, part of my understanding is that they don't want to scare patrons off, and I understand, but it's kind of funny because people, even during the pandemic, when they reopened the building, were coming up and asking them when we were going to be back in. And, we average anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a weekend when we do hold the fundraiser. Now, unfortunately, this year it's only going to be one night, but I'm hoping we can crush that record. I'd love to see $5,000 in one night. That would be kind of rocking if we could get the people.
That's insane. That's crazy though. Holy crap.
I think we actually did do $5,000 one year on one night. Awesome. I think the most we did on a weekend was 7,000. But still, that's between two nights.
Yeah.
And that for a building like that, and the amount of activity that we get there, it's incredible. I mean, they could probably, if the board of directors ever thought of it, could probably look into it and run investigations on weekends if they don't have concerts there to supplement their income, and it would be well worth it. I mean, Phil, you were with us the one year.
If I do. Yeah, it was. Heck, I think whenever me and Emily were still together, actually, I want to say this was probably like maybe 7 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, something like that too. And it was probably months after that because I know we were there for the training, quote unquote, and
paranormal education.
Yeah, and we actually, I ended up catching something on. I don't know who said that, but that's really funny.
It's probably Mikey.
Oh yeah, but I think I actually ended up catching a response on my Android phone too. I forget what the actual question was. Like one of the little girls there that was a part of the entire tour / training thing asked something like, "Do you happen to like playing instruments in this location?" or something along those lines. And I caught on my phone a no, and either it was somebody who was just saying that, or it was an actual response. And either way, I thought it sounded cool. It could have easily been like one of the people in the audience, but
very much. That's always a trick with EVPs is try to make sure everybody is quiet. I've had ones where a team member has been with us and he's asked a question, and we hear in the background we hear the same question being repeated, and I'm like, wait a minute, that can't be possible. I mean, and turn around later, we found out the guy was a cancer survivor.
Oh geez.
Yeah, the medication they used to put him under while they worked on him to clear the cancer out, it has a side effect that when you say something, you will quietly repeat it right after you're done saying it. So yeah, that's always a trip. But you weren't there, Phil, the year that we had the when we first brought the teddy bear from hell in, were you? That was a trip.
Oh really?
That was, I don't know if you know, Phil. I don't know if you guys have, or sorry, Sean. I apologize. I don't know if you guys have a Boo Buddy.
But I think Troy has one. But the team has one, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not often that we get accurate ones. Mine's second generation, and from what I understand, there's a third or fourth generation that's out now that acts as it's supposed to, as they advertise. But we had this thing down in the men's locker room at the library, and Boo fires off questions. Says, "I like good stories. Please tell me one." There was a little boy in the audience, in the tour group with us, and one of my investigators said, "Do you know any good stories?" And the little boy says, "I don't know any good stories." And you heard this flat, loud no come out of the shower area, and there was nobody in there.
That's really
so I'm like, oh my God, the X amount of dollars that everybody works. Didn't
so what kind of evidence have you gotten from the Homestead Library?
Oh my Lord. We've got EVPs out the wazoo. We actually caught video footage one year. There's a video up on my Facebook page for Oakmont Paranormal where my son Joshua is walking in to the music hall, and right as he walks in, he looks off to his left, our right, and you just see a full-bodied apparition just pops in and pops out, just split second like that.
That's really cool.
We've caught all kinds of really good, really cool evidence. We've actually had people who are patrons catch evidence too, and submit it to us just to show us. My favorite piece of evidence is a full-bodied shadow of a woman. It looks like her hair's up in a bun, but her eyes are absolutely red. It's like, wait a minute, what, am I seeing this right? I've actually gotten an EVP from Andrew Carnegie himself too.
That's really
Damn, that's crazy.
That was kind of funny.
Have other members of the team or any of the had intense experiences as well, or was that like what's the craziest one that to the point where you're like, holy shit, like there's crazy and then it's like, wow.
No, the holy shit one actually happened to my son Joshua. Right after that, we caught that full-bodied apparition with him in the music hall. My at the time co-director Mike Hildebrand went in, found Josh, and he goes, "You need to go get your dad, dude." He goes, "Okay," and runs out. He goes, instead of coming to find me, he goes into the adult library, back towards the area they call the stacks, and he's just standing there talking. And a gal by the name of Joni Dolniak, I believe it was, from a team that's now defunct here in Lower Borough area, found him and said, "Josh, what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just talking to that man. I got to find my dad. Bye." He turns and runs off to find me. And as Joni said, she stood there looking back to see and make sure there was nobody there. She saw a half-bodied apparition go, floating across the walkway there. And she took and left the area going, "Drake, get over here." There's just so much that happens at that building. It's remarkable. I would literally, if I was asked, and I know I've been asked this question before, what the most haunted locations in Pittsburgh are, it would have to be the Homestead Library and then Hillview Manor.
Okay, that's crazy.
It's just crazy with all the stuff that goes on. I mean, there's an organ, an old pipe organ in the music hall. It's there for decoration now. The thing hasn't worked in 60 years. And we've actually, a couple times, we've actually caught EVPs where the organ plays notes. There's no electricity to it. We've looked at this thing repeatedly. We've ensured that it is indeed, disconnected from an electrical source, and there's no explanation for it.
You're talking about the library at Hillview?
At the library.
Okay. Because I know we've had some stuff with the organ at Hillview. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, and that's funny because, that you mentioned it, because that organ actually does work. They ask you to not plug it in because of the age, but I've never been one to really listen to rules, and plugged it in one time, and I started using chopsticks and a couple other things, and we've gotten some really crazy stuff off of that too. But yeah, it's just I'm absolutely in love with both locations.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's it's with obviously the library too. Like the last time we were there was obviously for a concert. I can't remember. Like I don't even think we've ever investigated that place. Obviously, as a team, like you mentioned earlier, that sometimes other teams will investigate there. Which other teams have been there that you know of?
There's only been one other team that I know of that's been there, and that's still kind of irks me because as per a contract that I have with the library, no other team is supposed to go in without me being there or without our team being there. And they brought another team in that barely has been heard of in Pittsburgh. Froggy Radio. I don't know what the radio number is because I don't listen to country, but they brought this other team in because they were friends with a band who wanted to see if any kind of music would stir up activity. And I don't know whatever came of it, but it wasn't I couldn't exactly blame the library because they were getting money off of it.
Right.
The radio station paid them X dollars to go in, but that's the only team that I know of other than ones that I invite that has been inside the library to investigate it.
Yeah, Lori was asking if you ever been to the Carnegie Library in Carnegie.
I've been there, but I've never investigated it.
Because I know that's supposed to be haunted too.
It is. And it's interesting that Lori, that you mentioned that because of the fact that I went and visited it. Just that was one of the very first libraries that Andrew Carnegie ever built, and over the years of dealing with Andrew at the Homestead Library, I know what his energy feels like, and he has Andrew Carnegie has a really interesting thing in that he likes to he loves to sit by the fireplace wherever he's at, and it's always got to be the left-hand chair. And if I remember correctly, my ex-girlfriend and I had been at the Carnegie of Carnegie. They have a fireplace with two chairs sitting there.
Yeah, they do.
And the left-hand chair is where he was sitting. And I walked in, and I'm looking at the fireplace, and I'm looking at the chair, and I'm like, wait a minute. Good afternoon, Mr. Carnegie. How are you, sir?
Lori said that crap. That's where I sit.
Well, it could be worse. I mean, we had an ex-team member now. She had been at work. She's a nurse, and she'd been at work the entire day before she came to the Homestead Library on the Friday night, the last time we did it. And she was a little punch drunk from having been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, going on for almost 24 hours. And she's standing there twirling a pair of dowsing rods going, "Oh, Andrew." and see, I'm sitting there going, Andrew, please, please forgive her. She's a nurse. She's a little tired. She's Celtic in background. And I said, is that okay? And you watched both of the dowsing rods in her hands violently cross yes.
Mm. I
said, okay, could you please open them? They went back open. And I said, you're not angry with her for sitting in your favorite seat, are you? And they kind of wobbled, and they started to go yes, but then went no. It's like, okay, you dodged the bullet on that one.
Crazy.
Well, talking about all the Carnegie Homestead stuff, I actually found a video from, I think it's 2012. Is that what it was?
Oh boy.
It's when you're with the Pittsburgh City paper. So I'm going to try to figure out how to share that here.
That's
done it like once or twice. So we'll see if it works out here.
I believe.
What's that?
Maybe I believe that was 2013 or 2014.
Okay. I'm not sure what the year is.
It's old.
All right.
Sort of like people in the team, namely me.
It's behind the pillar, isn't it?
It's almost like something like between the exit sign
and the pillar.
Right in front of you. That pillar right there, almost like something walking between the exit sign. It had to be high because it blocked out the reflection.
Most popular question we get each and every year: is the library actually
Young Drake?
Yes, it is.
Holy moly!
So young.
We're here tonight at the Carnegie Library of Homestead, and in the middle of a fundraising paranormal investigation here at the building. If I was given a chance to pick out some of the top investigation-worthy buildings within the greater Pittsburgh area, this would probably come on top.
And they cut it off.
There was a face leaning over the railing looking at me. There's two spirits here who I believe are women. And my understanding is I believe that they do like me. I get along, I talk to them, I say hello to them. They've said hello to me. I've actually heard them say hello to me numerous times.
There's a very eerie feeling in here, and it's a big place. And when you and just one other person are in here, it's a little frightening. You hear every little noise.
Okay, is anyone here with us? Anyone want to talk to us?
We got that. Right now, I'm just checking for any spikes in the magnetic field with the K2 meter. Trying to make sure that there's not any entities in the area. If there are, they will make the lights go from green to red, or it might just flash green or to yellow.
It's something we like to tell people, because I've had several people come up to me tonight and say that they didn't see much. And it's something that we do tell people, no matter where we go, is that you cannot order the dead to just do something. They're not trained dogs. They're not trained monkeys. They were, at one point, living people.
I will tell you, a lot of paranormal investigating is sitting in the dark and waiting and waiting.
That was awesome.
That's an old video. You can tell a couple different ways. A, I'm and B, I had hair. But, the sad thing is that gentleman Carmen, he comes up in that video right after me. He passed on, I believe it's about 2 years later, and he actually does haunt the library. We've actually gotten responses from him.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
He come through a ghost box at Hydro Lake a couple times, but he was a really great guy. I really miss him. He was a great guy to talk to. He told me stories that nobody had ever heard of that building, because he would open the building up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning so that people could get up to the gym. And he gave me a voice recorder, and with about 80 hours of evidence to go through, and I gave up for about 5.
15 minutes is rough, guy. I can imagine.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, Phil, what's my rule about EVPs? How long do you do a session for?
I actually forget what the rule was. I'm drawing a blank right now.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. There it is.
After that, you just throw the thing down and go, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, we try to keep ours at 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets too boring after. Yeah.
It does. It does.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, because it does matter, but at the same time it doesn't, because there's times you get so much activity in a room, you just keep going and going and going and going, and you're going, yeah, I'm gonna have to make popcorn for this one.
Now, what's the most active location in that library?
By far, it's the music hall.
Music hall.
Yeah, you know what, Phil? Thank you for reminding me. I was just thinking about things I need for this for the Saturday. I need to order a beach ball.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, it's definitely the music hall. I mean, I've caught full-bodied apparitions on camera in there. We've had that shadow entity. We've actually had a male and female shadow apparition that were captured. The organ going off. We've had seats that we've intentionally gone in and put the seats down, because it said that there's an entity that will go through and put the seats all back up when there's nobody in there. And as a matter of fact, I want to say it was KDKA, probably 4 years ago, put a live camera in there and just left the area. They left it run for the better part of an hour, and the things you were hearing just happening in there, and you knew good and well there was no one in there. It was just incredible. Absolutely mind-boggling. Absolutely. Have I mentioned that I love that building?
Has to add on to that, have there ever been any instances where you felt unsafe in that building, or it's always been one of those things where you're just used to it?
I'm used to it, but we've had plenty of people. And if you recall from the last year when when Jay Blackburn and I were on, there is an entity down in the basement that does not welcome people in that area, and he does everything in his ability to prevent people from lounging around in that area. He changes thermometers, digital thermometers to read 66.6 degrees. He'll growl at people. He'll snarl at people. He's actually yelled at us and told us to get the F out. But I've never really felt harm and any kind of danger there. Unlike a certain other place located about 45 minutes north of there. I've been, I worked as a tour guide up there for the better part of 2 years. And there were times that I would actually be afraid to go down a hallway, which is a rare thing. You can ask Phil. If somebody would tell us that there's a nasty entity in this location, I'm the first one grabbing my gear and running for it.
Sounds like how Sean and Mikey are on our team.
Well, that's how I know you is from Hillview. Like I met you out there.
Right. I remember the day that you and Jennifer were just engaged, and you pulled up in your SUV, and Jay and I are looking at each other going, okay, what the hell's this? And we started answering your questions, and you told us what you wanted to do. And we're like, yeah, sure. Here's where you find out.
Yeah.
And that's been 3.5 years, give or take now.
Wow.
Well, we got married in 2019. So
it's been shortly before that. That's been what, 3.5 years.
Yeah. I think we were there for I think it was like their psychic fair or something. We did the day tour or something, came back, did the night tour, and then we had our bachelor party actually at Hillview.
I remember that. I remember that because I came over and I gave you the I performed the last rites on you, if I remember correctly.
Which, talking about that, you just had your
Hey Jen, no offense, hon.
You just had your pagan ceremony just recently, right?
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Yep. My fiance and I, Zoe and I, we were handfasted on July 31st. And for those who are watching and listening, hand fasting, there are two different forms. There's a spiritual form, and then there's the legal form. The spiritual form is basically, we used it to announce our engagement. But it allows us to live as husband and wife for a year and a day. For a layman's term, I like to tell people that it is a trial run at a marriage. Okay. At the end of the year and a day, if you two don't get along, you just sever your ties and part peacefully. But this poor woman over here has been dealing with me off and on for 20 years. For some sort of reason, she came back. We had a few years apart, and I'm very, very appreciative of her and everything she does for me and my kids.
That's great.
Zoe is, I look at it this way: the 8 years were a blessing in that we both needed to grow in some areas, and we're back together as a stronger couple ever since. She is just she's my absolute world. Absolute world.
Hell yeah, bro.
Congratulations.
Like, yeah, man.
That's awesome. Now, I don't know about her. You guys might want to give her
the light. Hey, it's all about timing and just, things are meant to happen whenever they're meant to happen, man.
Yep.
I've always believed that too. You can't rush, and sometimes it's not meant to work out now, but in the future it's going to, and it's going to be the greatest thing in the world.
Exactly. I can't agree more. I cannot agree more.
Oh yeah, she has a good one. I'll say that much. So
for sure.
Yeah. Well, so is yours. I love watching her TikToks. I mean, she comes up with some really cool ideas.
Yeah, Jen's awesome. She's great.
I'm dead. I'm alive. I'm dead again.
Yeah.
She'll probably be in the chat at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, Jen, what are you doing?
I say that every day.
Yeah, well, watch out for that frying pan.
Did you see that one video where she murders me with the frying pan? It was like last Halloween, I think.
Oh God, no! I got to see that one.
Oh man.
Yeah, Lori was actually brought up George from the basement.
Who?
You've always had a lot of interactions with George.
I saw the George pop up there. Yeah, George and the Lori, what's your last name?
Lang.
Lang.
She
I don't
was
know
she
you.
was at our bachelor party. I'm really good friends with her. She's
Oh,
actually in that wedding.
Wow, George in the basement at Hillview Manor.
She was actually
Wow.
she was the one that she got warned about for smelling like marijuana. If you remember that.
Hi, Lori, how are you?
That is the funniest thing ever. Holy shit.
For those of your viewers who've never been to Hillview, George was the building maintenance guy in the mid to late 1970s, early 80s. I don't think anybody's ever been able to figure out how he passed away. But he was a diehard Steelers fan, and I've seen him do some really wild stuff over the 2 years that I was there. In fact, there was one guy we warned. I at least I don't know if they still do, but I would go out of my way to warn people who would come over to Hillview and tell them, do not mention any other team other than the Steelers. Well, this one Jagoff came in wearing nothing but Cleveland Browns stuff. And Jay and I were sitting down there in the office watching the video systems while this guy went down into the basement. And he turned around. I don't know what he did in George's room, but he walked out, and all you see is this football fly down the hallway and crack the dude right in the head. And I'm going, yep. He pissed George off, But probably 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, yeah, about 4 years ago, we had a cleanup day, and my little Joshua, who's not so little anymore. Phil, you remember how tiny he was running around annoying us back when you were on.
Yeah.
And now it's worse because he's 5'8", tall as dad, thin as a rail.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he's just you'll actually get to see him.
Yeah,
he'll be at the library with us.
nice.
But Joshua is a diehard Steelers fan too, and we did our day's work. And this boy, he impressed me with his work ethic. I told him how to take care of what we were working on. He was knocking it out left and right. We had lunch, and then Kerry Trico, who owns Hillview, said, "Go ahead and investigate if you guys want." Well, I promised Josh that we would go down and I'd introduce him to George. And it was George. Well, of course, George was there. It was Jay Blackburn, myself, Joshua, and my other son, Micah. And we went down into the.
Jay's the one that actually sent these emojis. I know it doesn't say just Facebook user, but it says on my phone who that is. So that's Jay actually right there. He's watching.
Well, yeah, keep it up, Jay. I'll retell the story about. The Linus and Lucy theme. That is one of my favorite memories from Hillview. But Jay, Micah, Joshua, and myself were down in George's room doing a ghost box session, and we really weren't getting a lot of hits. And I turned around and said, I stopped the voice recorder and I said, and Jay, it's a good thing Jay's here because he can help me remember details afterwards. I've had Corona and I've had Delta, and it's hard for me to remember some things some days. I saw that, Jay. You wait, you hillbilly. So I shut off the voice recorder in George's room, and I said, George, this is my son Joshua. Back in your day, you would call him mentally retarded, but today we call him autistic. It's a little nicer version. And I says, he's a diehard Steelers fan, just like you are, and he really wanted to meet you. And Joshua looks over and says, "Thank you, Mr. George. I love you." And I wish to God I kept the voice recorder going, because split second later, you heard loud and clear, "I love you too."
Awesome.
Holy hell. That's amazing.
This comes right out of the ghost box. And I'm sitting there dropping my jaw. Well, a couple months later, Joshua was with me. We had to go up, and I think Jay, it was Jay, myself, Don Shoot from Banshee Paranormal, and Joshua were there. I think we did a live session, and we turned around and we're having pizza. There's probably a good 2 or 3 feet between me and Joshua. Jay was at the desk, and Don was sitting at the desk as well.
Mm.
And we hear this voice from in between us go, "Hi, Josh." Well, Jay, Don, and I are sitting there, pizza half hanging out of our mouths, going, "Oh my God, did you hear this?" Josh was sitting there, cool as a cucumber, going, "Dad, George has been up here a couple minutes talking to me."
No, that's
And I'm looking at him going, "Dude, you're supposed to tell Dad these things when." Well, a couple months after the pandemic had started, we were going up. 2 of us were going up and patrolling the building, just making sure that it was okay. Every other night, somebody was at the building, and when they reopened it, when we could let groups of 10 go back in, Jay and I had a tour group come in, and he and I were sitting there eating, or getting ready to eat, and I ran off to Arby's to get us dinner. But Jay came up with a brilliant idea to fire up Phasma Box, and he gives me a call when I'm over ordering our food, and he says, "You need to get back here, man." I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Well, there's somebody just came through Phasma asking for you." I'm like, "Okay, be right back." I pulled back in and brought our food in. And I said, "All right, somebody's asking for me. Who is it? What do you need?" And you heard, "Hi, Drake. How's Josh?" Came right over Phasma, and it was George.
That's really cool.
Crazy.
I know I said it the last time I was on your show that I've never ever heard of an entity going out of their way to form a friendship with a human, a living human. But George does, and that hasn't changed. We were back there when we ran into you guys at HillCon a couple weeks ago. We were running Phasma in our room, and you heard a voice came right through and said, "Where's Bowan?"
Oh, wow.
I was having a cigarette, and I'm like, "Okay, that's." When I walked back in, I figured it was one of 2 people. It was either George or it was Jimmy, Jimmy Marker. And I walked back in and I said, "I'm here. Who's looking for me?" And he heard, "Where's Josh?" I'm going, "Hi, George." Meanwhile, all these new people on my team are going, "Holy shit, what the hell just happened?" And I had to explain the story.
Well, I know when we were on tour with you before, I think I brought it up in the other episode that we were in, that you mentioned your son, and we had the K2 meter actually going from red to green instead of green to red, which I've never seen that happen before.
Neither have I. Neither have I. I still wish to God I could have been there to see that. That would have been incredible. That would have been incredible. I've seen a lot of weird things. Like I was at the House of Wills with Tom and Becky Benson. Oh help! Can't think of Lance's last name off the top of my head, and he's one of my best friends. Oh God, Lance, don't kill me.
We won't kill him.
Lance Tipton.
Okay.
We were at the House of Wills, and Lance and I were down in the coffin room where they would lay out the coffins so people could look at them and choose which one they wanted their loved one laid to rest in.
Mm.
And he had a REM pod, and about 30 feet away, I put my pyramid. The pyramid is basically a REM pod. I don't even know if Paranology still makes it, but this thing puts out an EM circle, and it can tell you the strength of the entity and on which side of the pyramid it moves on. And Lance and I were sitting there watching, and the REM pod went off, and not even a split second later, even though it was a good 20, 30 feet away, the pyramid went off on the right hand side. So the entity basically, the entity hit the REM pod and zapped over and hit the pyramid. You know,
Yeah, we had something similar happen in that same room at House of Wills. I think it was with like a REM pod and a K2 or something that it like bounced off to two different devices. Wherever we were in that same room.
That place is great. However, you know, personally, I don't care for the owner.
Yeah, we probably will never get invited back because Jen has like beef with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. He's a loose cannon.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but the one guy passed away. That's who Jen was friends with, and I don't know. They kind of got into it over that because he was trying to like claim one thing, and I don't know. We probably won't be back there again.
I won't ever go back.
I know you like warned me when I went there, I think, because I talked to you ahead of time before we even went.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Damn.
I do remember that. You know, my problem is that I went to when we went to leave, I looked back inside the building and there was a pair of red eyes just floating there over the top. And what really didn't help is that while we were down in the coffin room, there was a table on the ground on the floor near the back corner, and there was writing on it. And Lance picked it up. You could see that there was blood on it, and it was actual blood.
Yeah.
Whether it was human or animal, I don't know. But he started reading what was written on the paper, and I yelled at him, "Stop! Don't go any further."
Yeah.
He said, "Why? What's wrong? It's just words." I said, "No, that's not just words. That's an incantation."
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, and he had even confided to me that one of the times prior to us going, they were down in that room and they found a severed head of a goat on the table.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
That's awful.
You know, and there are some things I will not screw with. You know, and Satanism is one of them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we had an ex-member, which I'm pretty sure you know who he is, but I'm not gonna say his name.
I think I know who you look. I won't say his name either, but he kind of looks like CC DeVille.
But he was into that type of stuff. But he would do stuff like he actually did some bloodletting like at the table in front of us without asking us, and I wasn't cool with that.
He did what?
Yeah, he did some like bloodletting, right at the table. Yeah.
I tell you, man, that's whenever you know the ghost stuff gets very serious.
You know, there's a lot of people. You know, we did the honey, what was that? The Grand Midway Hotel that we were at last week?
Amazing. Love that place.
Well, it was nice. We had a lot of good stuff happen.
Yeah.
But we had found out, and pardon me for taking my bad habit here. We found out that we had a lot of rough activity, and it's not that we'll never go back. It's just it's going to take some time, because we found out some college kids were there, and the night before they were up in the canopy room, smoking marijuana and playing with a Ouija board, and they left some other items that they shouldn't have underneath the bed. And something attached to me, and you know, I don't claim to be an expert. I consider myself to be good. Now, you know, anybody who claims they're an expert in the occult or anything, you know, they're probably smoking something they shouldn't be. But you know, I cleansed everybody on the team. I personally didn't think that I needed this much. You know, and for about 2 weeks afterwards, you know, Zoe can back me up on this one. I was an utter asshole. And I put two and two together, and I realized, oh shit, something came through. They didn't close the board and send whatever it was back through. You know, and that's always a big issue. You know, anybody that wants to play with a Ouija board, they think they know what they're doing until they pull something through that they shouldn't.
So, do you ever use Ouija boards yourself?
I forbid it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of them either, to be honest with you.
And Phil can tell you, you know, that's the first thing I tell anybody that comes onto my team. I catch you with a Ouija board on an investigation site, and you're leaving. and you're put back to probationary status now. It used to be I just kicked you out, but they're everybody's like, oh, they're just tools. They're just tools. Well, yeah, so are dowsing rods, so are pendulums, so are tarot cards, and it all depends on your intent. But the problem with Ouija boards is that if you don't close it, something's going to stay.
Right.
And you get a lot. I've had too many cases where somebody's been using a Ouija board and they forget to move the planchette down to goodbye and say the closing prayers. They're just like, oh, we'll just put it back in the box. It's like, oh my God,
Well, that's like the only time we've ever used one actually was at the Monroe House, and they have them like out like in every single room. Phil actually wasn't even there with us.
Yeah,
but I mean, we know the rules and everything. So
right.
I
slept with an actual blanket that actually had a Ouija board on there.
At my camp.
You see, I like how they look. They're really cool looking. I just don't care to use one. I just, it's like you said. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge in them, but
there are certain prayers, and I don't know. I've never had one from Parker Brothers. I've never I've never personally played with one. I know how to get rid of them, but I don't know if Parker Brothers listened to the actual prayers or everything. I actually had to go online and find the prayers and everything, the opening prayers, the prayers for protection that you say right after the opening, and then the closing prayers. And all too many times people will screw with that dumb thing, or with one of them, and bring something through that really is a pain in the ass to get rid of.
Have you ever been to Monroe House?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Okay, I highly recommend it. It's probably like one of my favorite places I've ever been to.
Where's it at?
Activity. It's in Indiana.
Okay, over in Indiana.
Hartford City, something like that. I think. I don't know. I think that's what it's called.
No, I'll have to look into that. We're looking for new places to hunt. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hillview is nice. Bel Air House is really good.
We're going back there in November.
Yeah, I'd like to go back down there because Zoe was there for her very first hunt after she came back. Her first big hunt, I should say.
Okay.
At the time, she was a member of Redeeming Spirits Paranormal, and their team leader needed a set of wheels to get down there, and I said, I got no problem. I can bring you guys. I'll drive you guys down. And he's like, screw it. Bring your equipment. You can, I'll pay for you to investigate. And I'm like, okay, well, not a problem. While we were there, I got Kristen Lee came over to see me. Kristen and I've known each other for several years, and we investigated it. And we were in Edward's room, the very front bedroom. We actually spent the night, and next thing I know, we're feeling I passed out pretty hard, but I still felt it. But Zoe laid down next to me, and she's just sitting there trying to go to sleep, all hyper from the investigation. And the blankets got pulled up around our necks and tucked in.
Oh,
we're both going, okay.
Somebody just wanted to have you have a good night's sleep and tucked you in.
Hey, I wasn't arguing. I was comfortable.
Yeah, I actually slept in Emily Davis's room the weekend that we stayed there, and and I kept they say something like shows up in the closet, so I'm like staring at the closet the whole night, like didn't sleep too well. Didn't see anything in the closet though.
That's when you're going, I'm not gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
No, what? Been there and done that, in the room that goes up to the attic. The first time I investigated Bel Air was with Tom and Becky and their kids, and I left early that day because I wasn't sure how far it was. I was the only person from the team who went, and of course it was by invite. So I left early and I putzed around. I went and saw the prison, whatever have you. Did the investigation, and about midnight I went into that room, laid down on the couch for a little bit, and we had a video camera on me, and I took a quick nap, and I had a hell of a time breathing. It felt like there was somebody sitting on me, but Tom was watching me sleep through the video system, and he said it looked like somebody had walked in and just sat down on top of me. He could tell that I was struggling to breathe, and I of course got up and staggered back downstairs. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Which room was
dude,
that?
not like right when you come up the stairs.
Okay.
Emily's room on the left. It's the room on the right that you have to go through to get to the attic.
Okay.
There used to be a couch in there.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what Kristen has done with it since, but
yeah, I think it's been changed a few times since I've been there too.
oh, yeah. Well, it's we were there with a team. Honey, what was the name of that other team? Dirty Jersey Paranormal, or something like that. A team from from New Jersey had contacted Redeeming Spirits and invited us to join in, and it was a good time. But the team down from Dirty Jersey was really cool to work with.
Okay.
We got a lot of good stuff done. Very, very. Zoe, it's not. I don't think they're gonna mind if your voice comes through. You guys, there's my wife. Now she's gone out of the fox mode.
So, do you love Drake as much as he loves you?
That was a question for you, honey.
Not right now.
Not right now.
That's my girl.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's good people. I love her, and she's been with me through thick and thin over the years, and I'm really glad she's back as a part of my life. I really am.
That's awesome, man.
I'd be lost. I'd be lost without her. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Well, talking about like the heaviness in that on your chest, I know when I was actually in Edwin's room, that closet there on the right, like which they say is a portal, I got chest pain like in that room the one time I was in there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was the ex-team member that I was talking about earlier. Me and him were in that room, and I was telling him like my chest is bothering me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen like usually,
No, and it kind of freaks you out when stuff like that hurts. I mean, you can have when we were up at Greenville Manor, it was a year to the day after we first went up there, and I had an entity that froze me literally in place on the stairs a year prior, and I wanted to see if it would happen again, and sure enough, you can feel it did. This thing froze me on the stairs, and I screamed at it, and it finally let me go. And I walked. There's pictures of me on Facebook, being up in that room with Phil and a couple other people. I'm standing there, pulling my pants up and ready to fight, going, "Come on, asshole, let's go!"
Yeah, that place is pretty fun. We were actually there months ago, helping them move a really heavy sign.
We have a documentary coming out to October 7th on our YouTube about Greenville.
I'll have to watch.
We go back there December 3rd too. We're gonna be out there again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we've been trying. We've got a lot of new members on the team. How
big is your team actually?
Oh boy, I think we're up to 15 active.
Holy heck!
I thought 7 was a lot because we have 7.
I can, we went to Mansell for the team birthday this year. Awesome. We always try to hit a major location for the team birthday, and with next year being the 13th, I've really got to figure somewhere out that's going to be a really a real good shindig.
Is Tom still the part of your team? Tom Smith?
I'm sorry?
Is Tom? Yeah.
Big Tom has not been on an investigation in a while. So we actually have 2 teams. If you really think about it, we have the main team that we have 15 on, and anybody who's been on the team before is a part of what we call Friends of OPS. And if we ever need people to go on an investigation, we throw it out to them, and they always get first come, first serve.
Yeah, we've been trying to do like we call it B team, but we've been trying to do something similar where you're not actually on the team, but if we need extra people or something,
you're more than willing to come. Yeah, that's basically Friends of OPS is the B team.
Okay.
and we've got a lot of great people there too. People I wish could make more investigations, but like Tom and his better half Barb. This is the time of the year when Scarehouse kicks in, and they're always running rampant. They're running rampant, doing things for Scarehouse. It was even funnier. Tom, I don't know. Tom. There, way to go, Phil. I don't know if you were on the team or remember. We had it one year that Tom called me while we were at the library. He says, "We just got done. It's only going to take 10, 15 minutes for us to get there from the Scarehouse. You mind if we come?" And I said, "Well, yeah. The only way you're coming in here is if you're still dressed as your old." And it's kind of funny because he says, funny that you mention it. I am in costume. But to avoid copyright infringement, I'm just going to take the nose off. And we found out there was a girl from another team that was there, and she was absolutely terrified of clowns.
That's amazing.
And I said, "Tom, just call me and let me know when you're here."
Oh.
And I had this girl. Yes, it is. Joey's going, "That's not funny."
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes, it is. We had, I set it up that this girl was sitting at the entryway going into the library and going over evidence. And I showed her a couple things, and Tom called me. And I said, "Oh, cool, Tom and Barbara here." I said, "Well, hang on, I got to go let them in." And so I went outside. He's coming up the stairs, and I said, "I hope you're ready to have fun, Tom." And he goes, "All right, just point me towards the victim."
Tom.
Sounds like Tom.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, she's right in, right. All you have to do is walk through the door and walk right up. She's right there at the corner." And he took off his coat, opens up the door. He walks in and kind of does a, sidling across the wallway, and he peeks around the corner and goes, "Hi, little girl." This girl is just clicking away at the computer. She looks up, sees him, goes, click, 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 just go away. I thought Tom peed himself laughing.
That's awesome.
That is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
There's actually a picture on my Facebook. I think I put it up on my profile some time ago of Tom dressed up as the alter ego from that night, and me standing next to him going, "Oh God," like what I did to you a couple weeks ago there, Sean. Exact same look on my face, but that guy, he's such a talented actor.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just incredible. I mean, here, he's playing an axe-wielding homicidal clown, but when he takes the makeup off, he's the biggest teddy bear you'll ever come across.
For sure.
100%.
Tom he's the kind of guy who would give you the shirt off his back, and I've actually encountered him inside the Scarehouse one year. And the only reason he scared me was because I didn't know he was there. He wasn't dressed as a clown. He was dressed as a bartender. And he comes up, I told you you're cut off. No more ghost hunting, especially for you. And I'm going, F you, dude. F you.
Is that what he had the gun too?
Yeah.
I remember that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, but we investigated the original building that the Scarehouse was in.
Yeah, I've done it before too.
Oh my God, that was incredible. The very first year that we could do it, they did it. We went in. That profile picture that I have, where I'm kind of looking off at an angle, and I'm wearing the vest and everything, that was taken that night. And it's interesting because we went into the kitchen or the dining room area where they had that bloated corpse and everything, and we're investigating it, and you hear the first three notes of Bram's lullaby, like from a music box go off, and there was no music box in the area. We tore that room apart, and we could not explain it. And it turned out that a couple years prior, when they were working on the old setup, they used it as a demented baby room,
Okay.
which was really, really rocking. You know,
Yeah, I have a couple scare house stories. One that David Naughton.
yeah, I know, Dave.
Yeah, he actually the time that we went and did the, they had like the paranormal thing and the actors came and he was the one like leading everything. But
Yeah.
we actually, the only really cool thing that happened that night is we were up in the actors studio, which is up above the the actual haunted house, and it was probably like 2-3 in the morning, I'd say, and you heard whistling coming from downstairs and nobody was down there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I had one room. I don't remember. I know it's where they had the black and white cutouts, and somewhere I have a rarity. I have a T-shirt. It's got the killer rabbit done up in the cartoon form. I have that on a T-shirt. But I got into that room, and my millimeter started reading 1,000 degrees. I'm like, that's not possible. I changed out the sensor, the temperature probe, and everything. It kept reading 1,000. Kept reading 1,000. I take it out of the area, and it read normal temperature.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, maybe Satan's in the room. I don't know. Excuse me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, and that's what's really funny. I love the fact that you never know what's going to happen when you're investigating.
Right.
And then when it happens, from my ex-girlfriend at Gettysburg, hearing the footsteps in the barn above us and her freaking out to, and it always seems like everything happened to her. We were at Hillview one year up on the 3rd floor, and she's going, nothing ever happens to me. Ghosts aren't real. I'm not convinced. And I fired up Phasmobox. I said, guys, somebody here doesn't believe me, believe that you're here. Could you tell me what her name is? And you heard Anna come barreling through the Phasmobox, and she's going, that does it. I'm out. See ya. But there's stuff that shocked me. Like when George came through right in between me and Josh and said Josh's name, and I do believe I've seen George. Speaking of things, Lori, Nick Markowitz, who was the electrician for Hillview, and I were up there. We were putting that podcast station together for them, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this tall, about 6'3" man standing in the hallway with curly hair, and I'm like, wait a minute, who is that guy? And I look over, and he's gone. Only thing I can think of is maybe George was just coming up to let me know that he was there.
Now, do they have any pictures of George? Like I know they do with the guys upstairs on the 3rd floor. So I was wondering, do they have any pictures of George?
Jay, if you're still listening, you're the one who can answer that better than me. I've never seen any. I've never seen any. All I know is that he's about 6'3". He was a Vietnam veteran, and he had dark hair. So it's like, okay, I guess Jay's not listening anymore. See how you are, Jay? Fine, I love you too.
Oh no, I think that was him there.
Oh yeah,
somebody just said
that
something.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
I didn't see.
That's Jay.
Okay.
We actually, the last time we were there, we actually had a lot of stuff in Eli's room happen.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that they got Eli's room opened up because that place was a DMZ. There were only a handful of people for the longest time that could get back there, and that would be me, Nick, and not Jason.
Ken?
No, I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. I know him to see him.
Donnie?
I call him all Steve. No, hell no, not Donnie.
Okay.
Oh help! He's got the black German Shepherd.
Dale?
No, not Dale. Not Dale. Dale actually didn't come in. A lot of the people that are there now didn't come in until after I left.
Okay.
Huh.
And don't get me wrong. I miss Hillview Manor.
Yeah,
I really do. I just don't miss the annex.
He said Jim. Jay said Jim.
Jim. Yeah, Jimmy. Jim. Young Jimmy. Let's not confuse him with Jim, that the older guy, Jim, who helps take care of things for Carrie. You know, we were the only 3 people who were allowed back there because of, you know, all the debris and everything. I was very, very happy when I heard that they opened up Eli's area. But the interesting thing is that's not where Eli died. We actually have been able to. Nick and I have been doing had been doing a lot of research into the property, and we found an older picture from the 40s or 50s that was an aerial shot, and there's a separate building out back where the haunted house is at.
Okay.
You know, it was kind of off to the side of that Morton building that's put there, but
not the bunker building, right?
No, on the other side,
Okay.
towards where the mass grave is.
Okay.
We kind of figured that would have been the steam generating building that would have powered the building through the later years, and we figured that might be where Eli went and died.
Okay.
You know, and it's interesting because if you go into the museum, Eric Bollinger had found a book, an index book from the early 1920s, 1930s that listed all the deaths inside the building. And he's like, yeah, this might be cool to look through. And I flipped through it and I actually found Eli's obituary. And they, in the book, called it, in that book, they called it alcoholism was his cause of death. But meanwhile, from what I understand on the official records, they said he died from exposure to the elements. So Eli's also, you know, Zoe has had an encounter with Eli too, and she's had a couple actually. We were there, I want to say about a year and a half ago. We did a home residence last April. I remember telling you guys that that was that one that the entity personally requested our team to come in.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting. Note the sarcasm. That was an interesting. But we left there, and you know, from Mercer County to my house, it's a better part of an hour and a half. And Zoe kept telling me I got to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, you know what? I know who's working Hillview. Let's go. She didn't know it. I took her there. And she had a cigarette getting out of the car, and I said, before I could walk in, I walked into the building, said hi to everybody. My dear friend Melissa and Dawn were there, and before I could warn Zoe about Eli, she walks in the door, and I hear, "Hey, keep your hands off!" You know, I'm looking out, and I'm going, "Eli, dude, that's my woman." You know, and then she also got to meet the creeper.
Okay.
And I'm looking at her going, you know, I walked her to the back of the bathroom. We didn't have any flashlights. And I can walk that building without a flashlight at all. You know, not bragging, but it's not that hard to figure it out.
Right.
And I waited out in the hallway for her, and I'm sitting there just watching the creeper back in the time clock hallway, screwing around. And she walks up to me and she goes, "Hey, honey," looks over to her left, and she goes, "Oh my God, what in the hell is that?" I look back over, and I'm like, "That's just Pete." "It's who?" The creeper." "What the hell is it? Let's get out of here." I'm like, "Honey, you're a paranormal investigator. You know, you've seen worse than this." As a matter of fact, speak of the devil, you know, one of the very, very first pieces of evidence we ever got was at a undisclosed location in Oakmont. And I'll actually be talking about this on the 15th. We're having a rather unique occurrence that hopefully, if we get enough of a turnout, we'll be able to do it again next year. We're going to have a paranormal roundtable at the Penn Hills. We're going to have Iron City Paranormal. Jay's going to be there representing Northern Appalachian. We have Sean Kelly from Pittsburgh Paranormal that's going to be there.
Okay.
And Katanning Paranormal being represented by Ruthie Wolf from my team.
Okay.
But I'll be talking about this haunting at that point, because Zoe was down in the basement of this building, which is one of the oldest buildings in Oakmont, and she stood there and said, quick, somebody take a picture of me. There's something playing with my hair. And a gal by the name of Jacqueline Soraka took 3 pictures back to back with a very expensive camera. And the first shot shows nothing. The second shot shows a woman, or what looks like the shadow of a woman, over top of Zoe. And then the third shot shows nothing. And I'm trying to figure everything out on how to debunk this thing, and I couldn't. I talked to a friend of mine who's a historian from Oakmont about, he specializes in Oakmont history. And he said, well, there was a girl who was pregnant out of wedlock when they were building the place. The father wouldn't claim the baby, and she hung herself from the rafters in there. And Zoe said, she said, I think there was a woman there. And about a week later, we went back with another psychic, and I sat him in the exact same spot. And he says, well, there's something hanging here. I said, okay, is it human or animal? He said, it's human. I said, okay. Is it male or female? He goes, female, and I believe she was pregnant. And I'm going, okay, well, I had Jacqueline send me the picture, and I called it up on my phone and showed it to him. And I said, you're sitting in that exact spot. And I think Dane had an accident in his pants, because he started shaking, going, oh my God, I was right. I'm like, Dane, you're the psychic. You're supposed to be right. But I since then, we caught, those weren't the only pictures we caught down in that basement at that time. We caught another one. Phil, I think you may remember having seen it. The one of the back door where the shadow was formed up, and you could see the outline of a full-bodied apparition starting to manifest inside the shadow.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one.
And I showed those pictures to another seasoned team, Steeltown Paranormal. I don't know if they're still together or not. Chris and Melanie Durish. Right now, I believe there's some goings on that prevent them from investigating right now. And if Chris and Mel get a chance to watch this, from our entire team to you two, our prayers are coming your way. But I remember sending him the picture, and he fired back a message like this: wait a minute, you guys caught this on your very first investigation? I'm like, yeah, we've never done anywhere else. He goes, how the hell did rookies get excellent stuff like that on a first time out? I said, if I knew, I would tell you.
Luck. It's all luck.
Yeah, and then that's all it is too. That video I mentioned earlier with my son Joshua. Joshua seems to be our team ghost magnet.
Yeah.
And it's even funnier because it with him it's like ghosts are just drawn to him. It might be because of his innocence, because of his mental handicap. It might just be that he's a light worker. It's hard to say. But it's even funnier because somebody gave me an audio clip. A girl by the name of Heather Barron from Goth Paranormal. Gus is on the hunt. Took Joshua, kept him occupied for me one year at Homestead, and she ran her voice recorder just to see if anything would catch up, or if she could catch anything. And you could hear Josh in the background. Come on, I see you over there. What are you afraid of this? No, don't be scared. Come out. I see you. Come out with your hands up. And I'm going, dude, you don't. It doesn't work like that, dude. I know, Dad. But there's nothing more embarrassing than pulling up the Hillview Manor with an autistic, avid ghost adventures fanatic, and in the car, and him going, Daddy, I know that place. Zach Bagans was there, and I'm going, no, you're gonna pay for it, dude. But At any rate, yeah, we've got we're going to be busy for the next several weeks. You know,
And
Yeah, I was going to ask you what's coming up.
Yep.
well, hey, great minds think alike. Never mind, I'm going to behave. October 6th, I will be speaking at the Springdale Free Library in Springdale, Pennsylvania at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I'll be delivering a lecture on the difference between ghosts and spirits. And then the 15th of October, again, is the Paranormal Roundtable at the Penn Hills Library. I'm going to touch on some local hauntings that are true, stuff that we've investigated. And I don't know if I got to mention it to you guys or not, but our team was the very first team to ever investigate Tour Ed Mine up on Taranum.
Oh.
I think I saw a video of that actually, because when I was looking for videos, I saw a video for that.
We got some really remarkable evidence there, including a dead person telling Joshua to shut up. It did not make me happy that she did that, but you know, I'll be talking about our encounters there. And then, of course, we're going to open it up. We're going to have a paranormal roundtable. I'm going to ask the representatives from the other team questions. We're going to take a break and then come back in and let the people ask us questions. You know, they're going to be free to probe our minds. And then, of course, the Carnegie Library of Homestead is October 29th, and I can't wait to get you both in there. You know, I can't wait to see. I want to be there because I want to see something happen in the music hall to you, Sean, and I want to see Phil sitting there going, told you.
I'm so pumped for that day, man. It's gonna be so fun.
We have you guys are going to be there. Our team's going to be there. Hopefully, Redeeming Spirits Paranormal will be there. It'll be their first time. Iron City Paranormal will be there. And then we have another team, a couple members, sporadic members from a team from Ohio that's going to come in. I can't think of their team name off the top of my head. Their lead investigator's name is Scott. We actually met them at Hillview Manor. We extended the invitation for them to come join us too. You know, and that's the beautiful thing about the library. It's just one big exercise in para-unity. Yep. But to be determined at a later time, Scott brought up this Scott gentleman had brought up an interesting thing that they do in Ohio. They call it a para-unity event, and they invite teams from all over Western Ohio and Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio to come down to this one fair and just hang out and have fun. And
I think I might have talked to him before too. I couldn't remember what his name was, but what you're saying is really familiar.
You know, he really piqued my curiosity about it, and unfortunately, we had something going on here at home at that point, and we weren't able to do it. But I want to expand upon his idea. I'm going to, get in touch with everybody in the Western Pennsylvania Paranormal Investigator site on Facebook, and I'm going to extend an offer to everybody, not just the ones that are going to help us at Homestead, but everybody. I'm going to throw it out there, just like Steel City Paranormal, Phantom House Paranormal. I understand there's a couple other new teams that are around Pittsburgh now. And I'm just going to extend an invite. We're all going to pick somewhere to meet, and everybody just get together and hang out and get to know each other.
Oh yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That'd be, just maybe like the Harmer bowling lanes or something. Something where we can go. I'll go have fun. Maybe like Dave and Buster's or something.
Nice.
It's going to be kind of rocking. One thing we do before we do Homestead, I don't know if I mentioned it in the group yet or not, but and this just shows how busy I've been lately. We like to get together before everybody goes into the library and try to have food together at some place. We'll determine if we're going to do that this year, but the newer teams, and I'm going to put that in the group, is I'd like everybody who's never been there to be at the library by 4:00. That way I can take everybody through, let them get a few minutes of playtime in before we have to get ready to start the night.
Yeah, we'll be there at 4. Like I've been there for 2 concerts, and I've been in the library before, but I've never actually investigated. That'd be cool.
Just bring all your toys, man. That's all I got to say.
Definitely.
And Phil, Phil, you leave those kind of toys back home.
Don't tell me how to run my life, Drake. I'm not that bad.
I just had to share a room with him this past weekend at Hearst
That's
Mania.
true.
So.
Oh yeah. Surprisingly, nothing bad has happened while he's been awake. Asleep, though, I can't really say much.
Let's say the 5th.
He had to do a few trips to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I can't really say that was my doing, so I'm just gonna.
Sean, I like to say I will take credit for him.
Drake taught me well.
I trained him well.
You did. And I do have to thank you, Drake, too, for helping me boost my liking of the paranormal and all that stuff too. Because it wasn't for Emily and I, searching for you on Facebook, this would have never have been a thing in my life whatsoever. Nothing. Even Scarehouse, actually, I found out through Oakland Paranormal because Tom Smith was one of the members there. So you were the foundation of all of this for me. So
you're responsible for Phil's existence, basically. Then you shove him off to us. So.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. That's evil.
I am eternally grateful, and obviously, how I said it even in the beginning, being a part of the Bump in the Night thing has been amazing. I mean, I tell I'm sure both Drake and Sean, both of you can attest to this. It's been such a busy year and a half getting into this. Like, holy shit! Like my all my calendars is filled with stuff. I'm like, I literally have very little time for other things, but I'm okay with that because I think me being single and living on my own, I can pretty much, it's nice.
Yeah.
It wears you out, but it's nice. It's fun,
we already
man.
started booking a couple things for next year.
Yep, 100%, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I'd like to look into getting out to Fort Mifflin, out there in Philadelphia. That's been like one of my hot spots I wanted to hit.
Yeah.
But it's clear out in Philadelphia. That's the major problem. Because like Eastern State Penitentiary. I'd love to investigate that place, but I'm not paying $150. Like, I know, Sean, you guys have been to Tala. It's $150 a night for 8 hours at Tala, but 4 hours at ESP is $150, and I'm sorry, but that's too much.
Yeah.
Tala's $1,500, and you got to buy the insurance, which is another $250 because we were actually just looking into it again, so it's like $750.
Holy crap!
Well, we did do Tala last year, and
did you do the Kirkbride building, or did you do the 3 separate ones?
No, we just did the main building.
Okay.
We just did the main building, and I can't begin to say what happened, but everything went wrong. There was a lot
in
of
a good
tension.
way or a bad way?
Both.
Okay.
Both. There was a lot of tension that was going on in the first place with a couple of the team members, now ex-team members.
Yeah.
And it just fed entities badly. I personally I couldn't get my video system up and running, and I'd never had problems like that before. We had an entity attached to one of the newer girls who was on the team, and we literally spent an hour and a half trying to peel this entity off of her. And every time I go near, this entity was telling her to attack me and hurt me and this, that, and the other. For whatever reason. Another entity attached to Zoe and had adverse reactions to it. I can say that I've been to Tala, and I'm happy with that. Whether we ever go back or not, I don't know.
Well, that's Phil knows this story, but a few years ago, I went for Father's Day weekend, and they had like a barbecue going on. They had the haunted house open, a farm tour, a bunch of stuff going on. But my daughter was with us,
Okay.
And she still won't go back there to this day. She messed her back up, and she blames it on Trans-Allegheny. Like she thinks something like attached to her.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. You know, one of the interesting things that did happen, on a positive note, we had a couple people who are medical staff, and I had an ice pick and a hammer, a ball peen hammer, and Jay Blackburn and I and Zoe went down into the lobotomy recovery ward, and I went down with the full intention smacking the ice pick with a hammer a couple times just to see what would happen. And I had this Billy Badass, attitude going in there. But as soon as I got in there and I went to reach for it, I stopped dead in my tracks, and I'm like, I was overcome with sorrow and remorse for what happened.
Yeah.
What those people went through at Tella is unforgivable. The doctor, I can't think of the doctor's name, Weissman or something.
We were just there on the flashlight tours. They were talking about him, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I know the guy's dead, and I'm going to throw the word "if" in here. But if there's a hell, I hope that fucker's rotting in it.
Right.
And pardon my language.
No,
there's no excuse for what he did. He's just, the guy was a sadomasochist.
Right.
And that was his way of getting his rocks off, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I saw before we went down, I found a video of a kid who survived a lobotomy.
There was a 14-year-old kid from Trans-Allegheny. They actually talk about it on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his 40s or 50s now.
They said he had trouble, I think, driving a little bit, but other than that, he lived a perfectly normal life. He got married, everything.
Yeah, they interviewed him on this one show, and the poor guy sitting there going, "I just want to know what, from what it sounds like is that he was an autistic kid, a mildly autistic kid, and and I can readily identify with him. I know what he was going through back then. Thank God my parents didn't decide to take me down to Pala to get me lobotomized.
Yeah.
My dad had the common sense to realize that there was something else at play. But this poor guy, he's going, I want to know what that doctor took from me. I want to know what he stole from me. And that's literally what he did. I'm sorry, but, without anesthesia, jamming that ice pick up there and wiping it, destroying that portion of the brain.
Yeah.
The guy should, I know he did lose his license to practice medicine, but the damage was done.
Yeah.
There's no way that man should have ever been allowed to he should have gone.
Nothing really happened, I don't think.
No, nothing ever happened criminally. And there should have been.
Yeah.
There really should have been, inhumane treatment of a patient, a mental patient, whatever have you. But I really hope that guy's rotting in hell.
Well, one of the things when we were at the Hearst Mania the other day, there was this lady across from us selling paintings or whatever, and she came over and started talking to us. And I don't know if you remember, but there's the bedpost murder room. You remember that room?
Yeah.
And the guy got murdered. What's that?
We actually had problems finding it.
We had a lot of weird shit happen in that room. One thing is, like, I kept getting a real bad vibe, and I was taking all these pictures. Didn't really catch anything, but it felt like somebody was watching us. But then I don't know if you remember, but they say the guy like crawls across the room, and we have on video, like you could see something going towards our REM pod.
Really?
Yeah, which is really cool. Which I didn't even notice it. Like Mikey was going through evidence for the documentary, and he showed it to us. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it's fucking nuts. But
the best document, best evidence I ever saw come out of there. I don't remember. Was it Dakota Layden or was it Nick Roth? I think it was Dakota Layden.
That creeper thing, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I think it was Nick Roth.
Yeah, that was Nick, I think.
Yeah.
No. That was no, I don't know. It was one of those.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You watch that person low crawling. It's like, what in the hell am I doing? And that's what I wanted to see. But go figure. It's like I said in that video you showed earlier. You can't command the dead to do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's like talking about that lady or whatever. So I'm talking to this lady, and the guy that murdered the person in that bedpost motor room, like, I don't know if you know, but they built another asylum up on the hill that was still open because he died in the 80s. She took care of the guy that murdered him, and he's not alive now. But like, and she said like he was super nice and friendly, and like it's crazy that like he murdered somebody, and then she actually took care of this guy that murdered him.
Right.
Well, no, that's interesting because we since Jay and I started working at Hillview, we've had ex-staff members come up and tell us, "Oh yeah, this person's still alive." So we had to cut that out of the tour. But then we've had people come up, like one thing I didn't know even beforehand was that Jimmy Marker from Third Floor up on Hillview had a bad habit of streaking.
That's the guy who took the pictures, right?
Yeah, Jimmy snapped.
Yeah.
And this nurse came up and she told us, she said, "Yeah, if we came in and called the elevator down and we found a pile of clothes inside the elevator, we knew to shut the building down and call the police because he may be outside and running around naked somewhere."
Now he wasn't the same guy that was caught masturbating though, right? Because I heard some story about some guy that used to masturbate on the third floor.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't remember that story. Okay. That's true. But it's kind of wild because Jay keeps me updated on Hillview because he knows how much I care about the building.
Yeah.
There's there's several new children who've shown up lately, and there's new entities that never have been there before. I don't know how to attribute that. I don't know if it's just new because there's new staff and people feel more welcome there.
Yeah.
And since we helped bring it back from the brink of destruction, or if it's just one thing led to another and they wound up there.
Do you think they could have like manifested something?
It's possible. It's possible. But we knew of two children, little Jeffrey and the little girl who haunts the basement. Okay. But there's like 2 or 3 more kids from what Jay was telling me. He also told me there's a couple new entities. There's some Italian woman down in the basement who gives all kinds of crap. The people who come down. Never know. It's actually kind of funny because we were doing they had a day tour booked one day when Jay and I were working. 2 15-year-old girls and one of their mothers mother and dad. And Carrie asked us if we'd take some equipment down to George's room and run it. And it just so happened we had my oldest son, William, with us. And William has been a practicing nurse for almost 2 years now. And, I don't know, one thing led to another. And we were running Phasma. I said, "How old are these girls down here?" And, you hear 30. And I'm like, "They are not 30. They're younger than that." And the one girl's like, "Well, 15 and 15 does equal 30. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's creepy. Don't go there." Jay said something, and you heard this woman come over, go, "Follow the redneck," which made me lose. I couldn't help but laugh. But I said, "Who's the nurse out in the hallway?" And you hear flat out, all in the same session, "Will's a bitch." And I'm sitting there going.
That's
unfortunately, because of that episode, my son won't investigate anymore. But it's and that's again, that goes back to our earlier statement, as to why I love investigating, is because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Never know. Like we were in Tour Ed Mine, and we turned on the Phasma box, some of the machines down there, and I just got a warning that my phone's about to die. I just opened up my computer and I turned on Phasma box, and you heard Mark Bowan comes right over. The very first thing, I didn't even say anything. I was sitting there going, did that, and there's Joshua with me going, Dad, they said your name. They said your name. I'm going, okay, it's going to be a good session. You know?
That's like, I don't remember if you remember, Phil, but it hasn't happened recently. But my son Cameron, we used to always get Cameron across everything, and he used to come on some things with us. But recently, it hasn't been happening.
I can't remember the last place his name was actually said. Was it?
I know it's been said at Hillview. It's been said at Shawnee, like a couple different locations.
Too.
Yeah.
That's kind of rocking, dude.
And Cameron's like not I mean, it's kind of more common these days, I guess, but he's 21 now.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And actually, Joshua will be 21 in January.
Oh man, crazy.
Yeah, Phil. There you go. Feel your age, man.
How old are you, Drake? I don't even know.
I'll be 53 at Christmas.
Wow, look at you, man.
Your birthday's on Christmas?
A couple days before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm born on Yule, December 20th.
Nice.
So yeah, it sucks being old. and believe me, this year my body has let me know that I'm just that old, and I was an idiot for all the torture I put it through when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's why we have these podcasts so early now, because I'm getting old. We did used to do them later, but now it's like, I got to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and
I got you beat. You know, and that's what sucks, because the trailer that we live in, we live up in Lower Borough. I won't mention exactly where. Because last I need is a bunch of people coming to my door going, "Hey, you're that ghost hunter guy."
That's like Phil when we go to motels. He always tells everybody where we're at. I'm like, Phil, you need to stop doing that.
Whoops.
Smart idea. We had somebody knock on our door some years ago, and they're like, "Well, we just wanted to see if you had any stuff on display." And I'm like, "No, this is our private residence." Oh. Okay. I'm very leery about putting my phone number and my actual location out on the team page, because you never know who's going to show up.
Right.
Yeah, I used to, on my old business cards, I had my phone number, but I actually just ordered new ones, and I don't have my phone number on there anymore.
I'll put an email address on there. That's fine, but you know, what have you. No, hell, see, now there we go with that old age thing. I can't remember what I was saying.
Not your location, or
well, I'm up at 4:30 every morning. Oh, that's what it does. We have at least 3 entities here in the trailer, and we've come to find out. The first problem is that the trailer court was built on top of a burial mound, so that doesn't help matters. But then we also found out in the trailer lot that our trailer's in, there was a double homicide and suicide that happened here.
Oh, wow.
A man killed his wife or girlfriend and his son, and then turned the gun on himself. And the property management doesn't like that to be general knowledge, but when I'm sitting there watching as the shadows walking past in front of the television late at night, and I'm going, "All right, get back there, asshole! That's your room. You go away." But we've seen the little boy, and he likes to play games. I've actually seen him manifest in my bedroom. But one of these 3 is waking me up every morning at 4:08 in the morning, and it's getting really freaking old.
What's it doing to wake you up?
Just waking me up. I don't know why. I don't know if they think they're being helpful or what have you. But if my alarm's not set until 4:30 in the morning, damn it, I want to sleep.
Extra 20 minutes or whatever helps for sure.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it does, especially when you get to be my age.
I dread the alarm going off.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, come on, no, there are mornings I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, thank you for doing that, because I forgot to set the alarm. But there's mornings when it is set, like this morning, yesterday and today, at 4:08 a.m., I'm wide awake. I'm like, what the hell?
I don't want to tell you guys what time I get up. My shift is 9:30 to 6 Monday through Friday, so I got pretty lucky with that. So I'm usually up by like 7:30, 7:45. but I'm always I started like a half hour earlier just to clean up the mess from last night, but that's just by choice.
Yeah.
More than anything. So.
Well, I hear you. That's like me. I like, being ex-military. We have a saying from the Army. It's called 15 minutes prior to 15 minutes prior. And I take that a little to the extreme. By the time I get down to where the company I'm working with or working for has me flagging is clear down in Cannonsburg, so that's an hour away from me.
Yeah.
I'm usually pulling in there about 6:15 every morning. And it's getting to that point. I'm used to getting up early because of Joshua. When he was in my custody, I had to have medicine into him by 6:30. But now it's like, okay, he doesn't live with me anymore. He lives with his mom. Why in the hell am I awake? I would, the only way I could sleep past 8 o'clock in the morning, since I've been investigating somewhere, or I pulled an all night playing video games.
Yeah.
It's like that sucks.
Oh, I feel that because on our investigations, I'm usually the first guy that starts yawning. So.
Yeah, and because we're both up so damn early,
Yeah.
But at my age, it's like I'll take a nap for like an hour or two before we leave to go to whatever investigation.
Right.
And I'm still at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, going, "What the hell?" I think Ruthie caught me snoring on an EVP one time. But that's okay because I'm the one who keeps her stocked in M&Ms. It's all good.
Oh man, that's funny.
Well, is there anything else you want to promote?
Just everybody, if you want to come to the Penn Hills event, people can go onto our Facebook page and find the registration link. That's and I believe, and I've been so busy the past couple of weeks trying to get all these engagements ready to go. I believe the library is going to do both reservation and walk-in. So feel free, anybody that's watching or listening, come on down. We don't make any money off of this. Everything, all the funds that we pull in go directly to the libraries that we help out. So other than that, it's pretty much we're ready to rock, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys on the 29th, man.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Any social media pages, anything you want to push out there?
Facebook.com/Oakmont Ghosts. And I do believe I did do, if you're a Facebook user, you can look up Haunted Homestead Library 2022. We do have the 2 special guests that are slated to be there this year. The first of which is Adam Bonnet, also known as Glider. I don't know if you guys have met Glider at HillCon this year.
Yeah, he was at Gettysburg Battlefield Bash too. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that's in the wheelchair, Phil. You remember
Yeah,
him?
I remember him. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be there. Hopefully, be there. I mean, we've invited him. Like this is like the 3rd time we've invited him to come to Homestead, and he's been chomping at the bit to come. But every time that we have the event, usually weather and Mother Nature decide that, hey, you don't need to be traveling out of West Virginia, dude. The poor guy, I feel for him. And of course, for those who may have handicaps, the Homestead Library event is handicap friendly. We have access to the elevator, so we can get people up and down. We have other means that we can get people in that are wheelchair bound, like Adam. We can get them out around the building, and we can get them down into the music hall. Okay. And then the second guest is the local author, Ed Kellerman. Ed's been researching the paranormal longer than I have. He's written multiple books, and Ed's going to be on hand selling a couple of his books. And he's also going to be on hand to investigate at the stroke of midnight. We're going to turn Ed loose on the building and see what he can come up with. And also, it's a little known fact, but I'm actually working on a book right now. It's a slow process, but hopefully, I hope to have it out on published within the next 2 years. So that's going to be kind of rocking if I can get that rolling. That's the other one. Thank you guys for mentioning that, and that I need to contact them. The team and I are going to be we're going to be featured in November's American Paranormal magazine.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I completely forgot about that. And that's my apology to the team.
Is that the magazine Jay was in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who nominated me. I have a sneaking suspicion that Jay did it because that's just how Jay is.
Jay's awesome
But
for sure.
Jay's good people. I love him to death. He's like a little brother I wish I had.
Yeah,
You know.
Very good.
But yeah, we're gonna be the featured article in that magazine come November. So we're really looking forward to that.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, congratulations for sure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man.
So other than that, yeah, we're pretty good to go.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll
Thanks
see
for
you
having me.
October 29th. No problem.
Hell yeah, brother.
It's gonna be wrong.
Oh,
Absolutely
awesome, man. Hell yeah, dude.
And whatever you guys do, stay spooky.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, guys, have a good night.
See you, brother.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can find us here, and here, and here. Don't forget, everybody needs a little bump in the night.